So, did you replace that XLR cable yet?
No.
No, that's okay. I had some batteries I needed to dispose of that I didn't take with me, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Forgetful. We're all forgetful. You and your drink bottle as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're right. I think...
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello dear listener and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
Went for a walk and ended up in Gilston Bay, which is where I intended to end up, but
That is quite a slog.
Yeah. Taking the Clarence Foreshore Trail, which towards the end gets rather rough. Unless you want to take a detour.
Yeah.
Which I didn't.
In that narrow bit, it's still better than it used to be. But, so where did you actually hit the trail? Kangaroo
Rosny.
Bay? Right,
yeah,
Rosny.
Kangaroo Bay, yeah.
Yep. So you walked through Warrane?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Lower Warrane or along the...
Sort of a mix.
Right.
Sort of, yeah.
Did you drop down to Bly?
I did, eventually, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Fair enough. This is gripping stuff, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
And there's the deranged cat.
Towards the end, the track becomes a track, which is to say vaguely compacted dirt and sometimes large stones.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a tricky situation in that...
unsolvable.
Yes, you're in people's front yards rather than their backyards. And they're quite protective of it, even though they know full well that that section actually doesn't belong to them.
I saw a set of sandstone stairs leading to a chain link fence with no gate in it.
Right.
Like it directly abuts the chain link fence at the bottom of it.
Yeah. Funny old.
Yeah.
It's why it's always been a problem trying to get a walking, cycling track around Battery Point, because even richer people are very possessive of land that doesn't belong to them. But it was a good walk.
It was. The Tasmanian government has received news.
Have they?
From an arm of the Tasmanian government.
Right.
That the stadium is a bad idea and won't work.
So what you're saying is that after a independent review suggested it's a bad idea and won't work, they decide, well, that's their opinion.
Yeah.
And then they still had to proceed with getting that particular arm that you mentioned.
Yes.
Even trying to avoid twisting it. But I don't think twisting would have worked because they certainly also said that it is a silly idea. So that's it. Yeah. They're not going to do it then.
And you know what it all stems from? It's the location.
It is absolutely the location. A square peg in a round hole where the round hole is 5 sizes too small.
No, I'm afraid to say they are not stopping.
What?
And in fact, nobody who could stop them will be stopping them. Because Labour have decided they will just push it on through anyway, even if it takes completely separate legislation to make it happen.
It really is redonkulous. Absolutely redonkulous. There is certainly some pressure being put on the other major party to backflip again, but there's too many. Oh, yeah, but footy. Yeah, but footy. It's footy, Thomas. We got to play the footy. Sports and politics.
Yeah,
shouldn't mix. Just as religion shouldn't mix with sports, or something.
Anyway, with apologies to Luke Edmonds, who I generally think is a nice person,
Yeah.
won't be voting for him
No,
at the upcoming Legislative Council
I will
elections.
not either.
No, because Labour is a party of principled people who cannot stand up for their principles.
Yeah. It's not a good arrangement, and I have become quite disillusioned about that arrangement. So I am certainly in the same boat.
Meanwhile, the Liberals are a party of principled people who I don't like the principles of, so...
Yeah, who flip-flop as to how amenable they are to people actually voting via their conscience. Anyway.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yay.
The world is full of it. More ways than one.
What, got a total of 7 weeks left of overlapping campaigning to go here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least it is not like certain countries where the campaigning starts pretty much as soon as the last one ended. What else have you been up to?
Media consumption.
Right.
You know.
Anything interesting? Any recommendations for our dear listener?
No. The interesting things are still to come this quarter. So
That's right, because Blood-Sucking Amazon Women from Mars #8 comes out in the next quarter, doesn't it?
I have Korean reality shows and adaptations of Korean reality shows in my future.
Good. And you're planning to watch them live at ridiculous hours of the morning?
No, fortunately. No.
Right.
No.
So that's a no then.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no recommendations from Thomas.
No. What have you been up to?
Oh,
I think you have more to say about this week's adventure than I do.
But the thing is, it's all a big blur. My brain is still hurting from things, trying to deal with technology and also dealing with companies that are meant to be dealing with technology. But, some of that technology is involved crawling under crawl spaces and making connections that you think are connected right, and then there's some question as to whether they're connected right, and then it's become a bit of a she'll be right, and
For one brief moment, the cables were all giving us the speeds we expected them to.
Yeah.
And now we're still stuck back where we were, which is, to be honest, for how much that we use the internet.
Exactly.
Not that bad.
No. And in fact, I may well, once I've paid off the modem, drop it down and save $10 a month, back down to the rate that it was at. But who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So lots of language difficulties and incompetence difficulties and information not getting passed on difficulties, which means that you're back at square one when you start trying to resume solving some of those difficulties.
And twine. There was twine.
There was twine. Stuck down holes through the walls and dodging the wolves that were in there. The twine was actually the easy bit. It was actually the crawling around at basically crawl height on really scratchy, lumpy dirt in a climate that wasn't... I was sweating like a pig when I came out.
It was the warmest day of the week. So.
And my initial plan was to actually tidy up some of the cabling down there, and that didn't happen. Which is a bit of a frustration, because if I'd been thinking, I would have put the new cable along a slightly different route that is slightly more accessible, because that was totally doable. But I thought, I'll collect up the old cable as I lay the new cable, and so followed the old route, and that was a bad move. That was a crazy way to go.
And now this week has been cooler, but it's also been wetter.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of wetness, our front yard continues to get damper and damper. Somebody has had a look at the growing lake in our front yard, but it's on the list of things for Taswater to deal with, and they haven't dealt with it yet.
Turns out,
This is dripping stuff.
Even when you don't service the whole of a state, servicing a state is a big job.
Yeah, it basically needs to get to geyser level before it gets escalated, I think. So our front lawn can start harbouring ducks, and as long as there's no geyser, the ducks will continue to settle in there, and the frogs and the Atlantic salmon. Anyway, enough of this rambling. We have a film to watch, Thomas.
We do.
It's a film that you selected.
I did.
I did not select it.
No, you didn't.
I did give some rumblings last week of my fear and trepidation of this film, and perhaps they are entirely unwarranted. Perhaps when I watched it, I was not in a good frame of mind. The downside of that is I have no idea what my frame of mind is like right now. So, I have seen this film. Thomas has not. What are we watching this week?
We are watching the 2019 film Ad Astra.
Please tell our dear listener what the plot synopsis of Ad Astra is.
I found one that isn't the one on Netflix.
Oh, good.
It's the one on Google, and it's also a sentence long, but it does actually say something.
That's right, you
about
did say
film.
last week that you would endeavour to be a little more productive.
Astronaut Roy McBride undertakes a dangerous mission across the solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and a series of strange power surges.
So he's heading to Venus. It's light years away. Oh no, that's not.
That's standing tall.
It's the final countdown. Ba-da-da-da.
No,
Da-da-da-da-da.
we've been over this.
Da-da-da.
You'll have to edit this out.
Da-da-da-da-da. Why? Oh, because I'm using music. That's copyrighted music.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, look, I think it would be worth it if the algorithm can actually identify that piece. We're streaming it on one of the multiple streaming services that it is streaming on, and then we'll watch it and come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
There is no side B in space.
The enemy's gate is on side B. You mongrel. So what did you think?
It's really the sort of film that critics love, and the critics did apparently love this film.
They did.
And particularly the performance of Brad Pitt, and I don't see it. Because ultimately, the defining character trait of Brad Pitt's character is largely not very emotional. Which is not particularly hard to perform. The most excited that I got for this film was spotting Natasha Lyonne at the reception desk on Mars and being like, "Oh, I love Natasha Lyonne. When's Poker Face coming back on again?" And I just checked. It's May 8th. So
I confess, Thomas, at the beginning of the, just before we went into watching this, I sort of threw in a get out of jail free for myself, saying, look, I may have been being harsh about it last week. And the reason I threw that in is because maybe I was misremembering it. And maybe all of these critics that I went and rushed and checked to see what they said about it, they did. They raved about it. They thought this was wonderful. However, you look at if you choose to, look at the Rotten Tomatoes, and my recollection is that your general audience didn't rave about it. It really, dare I say, another case of Emperor's New Clothes. It was trying to be an Interstellar. It was trying to be a 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we'll throw a bit of sunshine into the mix as well.
It's a long film where even the fast things that happen are slow.
Okay, I'm glad you say that, because I was busy bunching everything up together, which concluded, and I'll give them a conclusion here after giving this list of, and yet it was so slow, as if to seem smart, maybe, but it was just slow. Okay, so that list, and spoilers galore, but I don't care. Normally I do. If you were to read this list that I've got here, you would think this is a jam-packed action space film. You start off with a space tower plunge that ends with Brad Pitt only just surviving. The parachute gets put holes through it. James Bond action type stuff there. You've got moon pirates trying to intercept with this race across the moon. You've got monkey mayhem in a Mayday ship. Mind you, no animals were harmed in the. I did note that in the credits. Yeah, just aggressive animals in space. You've got a close call landing where the captain freezes and Brad has to take over. You've got a mad dash to catch a rocket. You've got underground lakes he has to dive through on Mars, very close to the surface. I don't know what was going on there with lakes and stuff, but just makes it with seconds to spare. You've got everyone ending up dead on that ship, inconveniently, so he has to go alone. And then what was meant to be the climax happened? What was the And then you've got him jumping off a ship through the rings of Neptune, calculates it with a shield with large icy rocks pummeling him all the way through, and yet when he does get through, his trajectory is spot on. It makes it to his ship, and then you've got a strapping in, and then the madness of having a huge nuclear explosion blasting him back to Earth in a very, very fast manner of time. Wow. Whoa. I'm exhausted reading that. But it was boring.
He has no sense of urgency about him, and so neither do I.
No. It was just...
Oh, you're calm. I guess everything will be fine then.
Okay, so some of those bits, there were major suspensions of disbelief, but also things that just didn't make sense. Maybe didn't need to happen. The whole space monkey bit, that could have taken, 15 minutes out of the story that didn't contribute. Okay, why was there a recording booth on Mars?
Why is there an anechoic chamber on Mars?
Okay, I was going to expand to that. More importantly, why did he have to go to Mars to send that message?
Oh, it was underground.
Oh, that's right. Underground.
And so the surges weren't doing as much to it.
Okay. With all of his training, he said over and out. You don't say over and out on a communications message, because it means you're passing it over to someone to make their communication back. But you're saying out. So that's the end of the communication.
And then he finally gets emotional in the booth, and on the second communication, doesn't say over or out.
No. And then he gets marched off with all these military guys wandering around. It was obviously a military facility, and yet he was able to get out of it really, really easily. I am through my notes, apart from the fact that I was watching the credits and then said, oh, that's right, Donald Sutherland was in it.
Yeah.
To add a little bit of pathos to the whole, was my dad as mean as I recalled him to be? Yeah, he was. Daddy issues. Oh, and the fact that there were 3 lots of additional music composers. I guess the original composer was told, you're making music for a film that's 1.5 hours long. And, it's longer than that now. Can you write a bit? Yeah, I can write a bit. Can you write a bit? Am I being harsh?
And ultimately, it's not about his character at all.
No,
It's about his dad.
it is. Who we see for how long?
A couple of minutes in recordings and then a couple more minutes on the ship in a 2-hour film.
Not enough to actually get any feeling or emotion for him. And you know, he was just as much of an enigma to us as it appeared that he was to his son.
Oh, okay, he's a solitary misanthrope. I do not care about this man.
Who doesn't care about anyone else to the extent where, oh, okay, no, I'm not going to leave this. I'm going to risk my son's life and fling us both off into the cosmos and still manage to equalise momentum and be able to drag each other back to a stationary position. And
I mean, what's the moral? That solitude is stupid? And, you know, maybe that's a moral I could take on board, but I'm probably not going to destroy the world by being a little solitary.
And that whole destroying the world concept, it just doesn't, for all its attempts to be smart, to be the 2001, there's just so much stupid pseudoscience and, oh, God got dragged into it as well.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm feeling like I recalled that I felt when I first saw it. I had really built myself up to, oh, cool, a space type film. And I did get the vibe from the ads that, yeah, this was going to sort of have those kinds of vibes to it, the 2001 and Interstellar and what have you. And, yeah, I'm feeling exactly how I remembered I felt when I first watched it. So scratch that bit at the beginning where I sort of tried to buy my way out of first recollections. My mindset is that I was right the first time.
Mars. Why are the scenes on Mars lit the way that they are?
Because it was Mexico.
I understand that everything needs to be orange, because Mars is orange.
Yeah. It's like movies set in Iraq or in Mexico. You've got to stick that orange filter on.
But why do the lights sweep? Why are the lights sweeping?
Because Mars is spinning very quickly.
We have this very cinematic shot of walking down a corridor and all the lights are going out. Why? Why have the lights gone out? Is something passing across the windows that are apparently here? I don't... Oh, and as seems to be a recurring theme these days, the US military is the true antagonist of this film.
Yeah. Oh, Thomas. That was Ad Astra.
The good news,
yes.
The good news is that we have dealt with my one remaining note, which is that nobody communicates anymore. I think we've done more communication in these few minutes than should have happened during the film.
I certainly felt Daniel just itching all the way through it. I think he's finally getting the vibe that, yes, I know we feel things whilst we're watching, but the whole context of us doing this podcast is that we try to restrain our reactions. But yeah, he did say as he was leaving, I have thoughts, but I will wait until you've finished your podcast. And I will try and remember to let you know next week as to whether he was in agreement with us. Am I getting the vibe that we both sort of get that feeling of lots of things happened, but nothing happened?
I suspect we're about to have a very similar conversation.
Yeah.
But there are other things to get to.
That was all your notes.
Yeah.
That was all my notes. Ad Astra, it's streaming Why is it that all the films that I really, really, really want to watch aren't streaming anywhere, but the films that I could really live without are streaming everywhere? Why is that?
Because they're cheap to license.
But would this have been cheap to license? Got big names. It would have had a huge... do you know what the budget was?
Well...
Because it certainly looked great.
Well, the budget, somewhere between $80 and $100 million, only made $135 million at the box office.
Yeah. That's because all the critics liked it. Sorry. Because I guess we're critics, aren't we? No, we're fooling ourselves. All right, then. So, flop.
Yeah.
Financially, a flop.
Yeah.
But Brad Pitt was one of the main producers of it as well. He's got money to spare, so...
Oh, yeah, there's your problem. There are 7 producers on this film.
And at least 2 writers.
Yeah.
And at least 4 people creating the music. Anyway.
One of those writers, also a producer, also the director.
Yeah. All those emperors. All right. You got nothing else to say?
No.
We do have to move on. So we'll move on.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
We will start over on Spotify with Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
I had worn my jazz costume from last year to see Hairspray live on the dance cruise trip I did. The ship was all complimentary, and I did perform on it.
Wow.
I had done karaoke, Toxic, Defying Gravity, Copacabana. Met up with my dance friends and teachers, along with making new friends also. Sounds like a successful cruise.
It does. My favourite piece of karaoke to sing to is Tequila.
Tequila, a karaoke song that, no word of a lie, got someone through a round of a televised talent show.
Tequila. Da, 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 da. Dunkel.
Dunkel is back, but we're not getting to Dunkel.
Oh, that's right, Dunkel.
It's only a guess.
It's not Dunkel. He keeps doing this, but don't take it personally. It's not just a guess.
The content is only a guess. I'm moving on to YouTube, where we find M.
Hi, M.
Who says, looking forward to Still Under Apps coming to YouTube, despite the Spotify copyright claims. I'm glad to have been around this long.
Yeah. You get an arbitrary badge. There we go. that reads, I have been around this long.
You're going to have to print it yourself.
With one of your own badge creating pieces of software.
Which, with a contribution on Discord from Dunkel...
Hi, Dunkel.
Will take us up to the guesses.
It will. As I remind myself as to what we watched last week. Good.
It's the title of the document.
Yeah, that's way up there. See, I don't see the title of the document whilst I'm here. Unless I'm... Yeah, okay. Anywho.
Our first guess is from Dunkel. And it is... Electrist. That's E-L-E-C-T-R-S-T. Which is... along the right lines.
It is.
But not correct.
It's got many of the right letters. But not correct.
The other guess from M is the word electric, spelt E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C.
Which is good thinking.
It's a sensible choice.
Very sensible.
It's an incorrect choice.
Well, I'm not sensible.
Yes, alas, no arbitrary points to be had here. Very close from Dunkel.
Yes.
It is, in fact, Elktruckst.
Yes.
E-L-C-T-R-C-S-T.
Thank you for your contributions. Unfortunately, no arbitrary points are going out today, so they'll double up for next week.
No, that's needlessly arbitrary.
A reminder, we just watched Ad Astra, so if you want to guess what the file name for this week's episode is in 8 alphanumeric characters or less.
Which may include underscores.
Which may include underscores, but no spaces.
No.
No, because I don't have a space to use. But I do have underscores. Not to put too fine a point on the whole underscore business.
Not to underscore it too heavily?
No. Or put it in bold. Yep, so if you want to...
Well, all the letters already come in bold.
That's right. So if you want to have a guess as to what the file name for this week is, please submit it.
Wherever seems reasonable.
Yes.
And not wherever doesn't.
Whatever seems to be working for you at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And film suggestions.
Yeah. Any other sort of commentary.
Yeah. Were we too harsh on this film?
Weren't we harsh enough?
Was it unbalanced in the harshness? I'm still trying to gauge whether I was being more harsh than Thomas.
But it'll come out in the edit.
It will.
Were we exactly the right amount of harsh?
Yes, it will come out in the edit, but how will the audience know as to all those wonderful, nice things you said about the film that I have now edited out?
Were we, in fact, not harsh? Were we the right amount of everything?
This episode has been edited entirely by AI, where we gave it the instruction, take all our words and make the film sound nice. And this is what you got. Yeah. We're rambling.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed. And it is your turn.
It is my turn, and after today's debacle, I'm sort of wondering whether I have made a right choice or I've chosen poorly. This film is on the shelf, and I believe you have seen it. I know that I have, but I'm wanting a bit of a rewatch of it, which I may entirely regret because it didn't get good reviews on, anywhere. So maybe it's just one of those guilty pleasures. I don't know. Anyway, this is the plot for this film. David Rice is a man who knows no boundaries. He was born with the uncanny ability to teleport instantly to anywhere on Earth. Yes?
Jumper.
You are correct, but I've started, so I shall go on. When he discovers others like himself, David is thrust into a dangerous and bloodthirsty war while being hunted by a sinister and determined group of zealots who have sworn to destroy all jumpers. Now, David's extraordinary gift may be his only hope for survival. I just got this memory that there are bits of it I enjoyed, so I'm risking a revisit. You can wave the white flag now if you want, Thomas.
No.
No?
No.
Next week, we are watching Jumper. We hope that you can join us, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
What was I thinking?
I don't know what you were thinking. Really impossible to say.
Who is to say it is not me? It is streaming in places, I believe. Is that what you were wondering?
No. Whatever it is, it will be, I believe, the 249th film that we have watched.
Ah. Okay, well, we better edit this bit out because we will announce that next week. Or completely forget.
And then the 250th will be the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
It's an honourable way to celebrate.
There's a little asterisk on the number because
we
Don
did what?
Hertzfeldt, which was technically 4
Yeah.
or possibly 6.
And we also did Troll Hunter twice.
We did, yes.
So how does that...
It'll be our 250th normal episode. The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Look, I'm stopping here.
Yeah.
I don't know how much any of this will be included in the final cut. Or will only be available to our Patreon contributors.
Oh, you're planning to launch that, are you?
Yeah, right. No, I think that would be a case of Emperor's New Clothes. We've got a Patreon.
Here is a level. I'm speaking. I'm still speaking.
Oh, would you stop speaking?
Never seems to be a problem for this podcast.
Hey, ever since we started editing with both tracks, or I started editing with your track, my track, that becomes obvious in stark contrast. I wasn't recording.
Yes, you were. I can see the red light.